14, drinking and smoking every day. 15, turned to the hard drugs. It was everywhere around you. And so we just had such unlimited access to it. That's when I went way off the chain, man. That started the cycles of I'm getting arrested, crazy stuff is happening. I'll drink and smoke and that'll be fine, but it never was fine. What do we do in those moments when we have a using thought? Finding what I was looking for in drugs and alcohol my whole entire life, I found in my one-on-one relationship with God every single day. So I was asked to share some experience, strength, and hope tonight. And and the challenge for these is always, where do I start? Always through prayer, just trying to speak into pieces of my story that I believe like people in this room are at that particular point of their journey, and just share things that I learned along the way. And my prayer is that it can inspire and encourage and help you as well. So the how it was, sometimes I'll try to spend a lot of times here. I kind of ingest, say the how it was for all of us is we did a massive amount of drugs and alcohol, and I ruined my life and everyone's life around me. The end, move on, right? But just for some background. So was growing up. My dad, wasn't around the capacity that I would have wanted him to be around. He was definitely a hard worker. That was his thing. That's all he did was work. He's got a great career as a result of that. So he definitely gave me a good work ethic. But as far as that, I definitely just remember those times of like being by myself and just was like, man, like when I have a son, for some reason I knew I was going to have a son. Like I was like, I'm going to be there for him. I want to be the best dad I can be for him. And I'm going to do anything that I can for him. So, the first drink, I guess, was around 12. And I remember, so my family is just like, we're the family. It's like, hey, how are you? Beers in the fridge, liquor's in the cabinet. What do you want? Like everybody drank all the time. They were still had careers and everything. They just did their thing. They just drank a lot. So I thought that's what everybody did. So party, 12 years old, and of course me and my buddy, we went and took all their old drinks and poured them into a drink together. And we both drank a bunch of it, and he was puking in the yard, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. Like this is it right here. I knew what I found what I was looking for. 14, drinking and smoking every day. 15, turned to the hard drugs, and pretty much like till like 18 or so, just kind of everyone was cool with it. Like it was just like, oh, Justin gets way faded, way crazier than everybody else, but it just is what it is because everyone else partook of stuff. It just kind of went unnoticed, or people just brushed it on under the rug. So when I was doing everything, like I did everything, like I love coke, did some meth here and there, and did some different things. But for me, like the pills, like when it started out, like hey, like take a bunch of Lortabs and drink a 12-pack of beer, like that was my thing, man. And like I liked everything else, but I loved opiates. Like I just loved it, man. So time went on. I was with my son's mom, and she was leading up into that point. We were together, kind of like the Bonnie and Clyde thing. We would drink and smoke all the time and do things. But where it parted ways was when like she would take half a Lortab and her stomach hurt, and I loved it more than anything. So then we just went in complete opposite directions there. Got into the whole when someone finally said, "Hey, here's a 30, snort this," and then I was like, I'm in love, and so that just like was what we did. We got into the whole doctor shopping ring. If you were around for that time, probably about 15, whatever, 20 years ago, it was insane. It was crazy. We were the people with like 2 carloads of people riding up to Tampa, going to like 12 doctors a month. It was everywhere around you. And so we just had such unlimited access to it. That's when I went way off the chain, man. She got pregnant, and we found out it was a son, and I was like, man, I was so happy. Like I just remember the day I was so happy. I was having my little man is what I wanted more than anything, and I swore I was gonna be there for him. I was gonna do anything for him, but unfortunately, the drugs already had a hold of me and started sinking to the deep dark place. And we were getting 80s, 30s, and Xanny bars, and it's a wrap when you mix that stuff. And so no explanation needed. So then that started the cycles of I'm getting arrested, crazy stuff is happening. Take her to the point where she would get mad, she would leave me, she would take my son and they would leave. And I didn't want that. Like I wanted to be sober in that moment. I knew what I was doing wasn't what I should be doing. Baby, I'm sorry. Like, please let me come back. Right? Like we all are good at. I would talk my way back in, and then it would start. We'd drink and smoke together. We'd do whatever. Matter of time before I went back to my DOC, and then here we are again. 9 months later, she'd get mad. She would leave. Same cycle over and over again. I feel like up until this point in my life there was still like lines I wouldn't cross. Like I would do some crazy stuff when I was with some of the guys, but I don't know, man, wouldn't do like crazy crimes and different things like that. There was still like a little bit of a line to it. So she left again and she went to Sarasota this time. I did what I always did. Baby, I'm sorry, please give me another chance. She did. And that time I waited, did what I always did. I waited till she passed out, went out, did my thing, came back, and all I remember is like getting like blasted in the face, late at night, like there's all your stuff, take it, get out of here. You're not going to see me or your son anymore. Don't blame her for that. She was backed into a corner. She didn't know what else to do, and so for me, like that hurt me, man. And when I knew that I wasn't gonna have my son in my life, like that really affected me. And so then it was the streaks of homeless out on the streets, robbing and stealing, just the craziness and all the crime and everything that comes with that. 9 months, a year later, like how did I get here again? This the mom, please, I'm sorry, can you please give me another chance? Well, okay, give me a shot. And then what would happen? Get sober for a week or two. I get a job. I get some money in my pocket, and then I'd be around the wrong people at the wrong time, and back again. So I went to every program, detox, rehab, and all that stuff. Oh, excuse me, over and over again. One thing I did learn during all those, how your mind works, and there was all those times where it was like almost if my brain knew that I wasn't going to give in to opiates for a week or so, and then it like switched. It was like, oh, well, don't forget about that. Like you can drink, you can smoke, you don't have a problem with that. And I'm like, yeah. So I would do that a few times, and then I would be right back to my drug of choice. I'd be like, why would I want to drink all night when I go in the bathroom for 5 minutes and be exactly where I want to be? But I learned that like it switched to that for me, and it was always the I'll drink and smoke and that'll be fine, but it never was fine, right? That was a lesson I had to learn the hard way. So, fast forward to this time. When people say, what was different this time than all the other times, I always talk about the pain that we're living in, which I believe that all of us in this room or watching online, we just happen to try to medicate that pain with drugs and alcohol. But the truth is, the whole world's in pain, and everyone tries to medicate with something different, whether it's food, shopping, sex, fill in the blank, cell phones, it doesn't matter, right? We all try to medicate our pain with something. And so I always say, man, when the pain of staying the same is finally greater than the pain of change, then we'll change, right? Because if we're being real, change is hard. Change is painful. And almost when we're out there and we're doing whatever we want in that same mindset, and there's no consequences, and people are letting us off the hook, and we're not really going through any type of pain, man, it's real easy to stay in that same spot, right? But when I finally get to a place where my pain is so great, and that the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, then I'll be willing to change, right? This time, again, it was coming to that point where the misery that I was living in 24/7, 365, right? And then I would finally, do a hustle, do what I got to do, finally, hit the needle in my arm, whatever. And then as soon as I would get done doing all that, I would be just as miserable as I was before I did it. In other words, it did nothing, right? What I was looking for in drugs and alcohol to take away, to change in me, did absolutely nothing. That's rock bottom to me. That is the worst place that I could ever be. And so I just share, I believe for all of us, when we get the gift of desperation and we have the willingness to seek out God, to seek out help, and to take suggestions from those people, man, that's the day my life changed, the day I believe anyone's life can change as well. So a couple stories I want to hit on. For time's sake, I'm gonna go quick. They caught up with me for a warrant. I'm in there for the last time. Autumn, she's a friend of mine. For those of you that know her, her mom was like a second mom to me. She loved me like a son, and we had a relationship even before I knew Autumn. And she had tried to hunt me down while I was out there in my last run. For those of you that know her, she's good at hunting people down. And so I was out there, and she was basically like, "Hey, like I don't care what you're doing. I already know what you're doing, but your mom is on like her deathbed. Basically, I need you to meet us, right? And so be at this place at this time on this day. Oh yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there. But of course, I got money. I got high. I wasn't there, right? She hunted me down again. The same exact thing happened. So I'm in jail one night, and I can sleep like the best of them in there. But one night I couldn't sleep. And my mom was the only person that would talk to me in there. I talked to my mom the next day, and she was like, "Hey, I need to tell you something. Terry died last night." And I was like, "Oh man, that hit me so hard." And what I realized at that moment, sitting in that jail, was I realized the how selfish that I had been this whole entire time. That all I cared was about me and how I felt, and when I was gonna get high again, and what I could get out of life. Like I couldn't even be there for this lady to see her one last time before she passed on. Like I couldn't even be there for my son, who I claimed I loved more than anything, because all I cared was myself and when I'm gonna get high and everything that came with it, man. That was a huge slap in the face of the realization on how selfish that had actually been my whole entire life up until that particular point. So coming out of jail was we had the walk of shame down Manatee County Jail. I guess you guys just get the golf cart of shame now. They must bust you down there. But if you went a while back, we had the walk of shame. And so I'm coming all the way to the end. You know, it is everyone's trying to find who's got the cigarettes, who's got the cell phone. And, I'm just, what am I going to do, man? I got no place to go. I got no one in my corner, no family, no friends, nothing, right? That was kind of the birth and hand of the victory. But, and I would learn later. I have nothing, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I felt like something inside had changed, but nothing around the outside of me had changed. And so, wouldn't you know, God already started working. I get to the end, I hear, "Justin!" And I turn, and it's Autumn's brother. It's Austin. He's sitting in the parking lot. What are the odds of that? And he's like, "Hey, I just happened to come up to pick my girlfriend up. She got locked up. Glad I'm seeing you. Mom's funeral is tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh, man." So I got to go. This time, he said, be in this place at this time. I actually was. He picked me up, probably 160 pounds, hair all messed up. But I walked to this church, man, and there was, hundreds of people in here. And it was like the pastor was talking directly to me the whole entire time. And I'm just bawling the whole way. And turns out this pastor, right, he got to know me a little bit, talked to Autumn about me, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'd love for you to start coming to church here." And what was awesome about that is he had a smaller church, so he had the time and effort and energy he invested into me, because he seen that I was just empty and that I needed a little bit of help. And man, I can't tell you right there, that was God putting the right person in my path for this man to be a spiritual mentor to me. Right. And then over time, like I started making phone calls and reaching out to people from I choose to go to AA, calling people from AA and just saying, "Hey man, can you pick me up, man? Can you bring me to a meeting?" Reaching out to people from church who had talked to me in the past. "Hey, can you pick me up for coffee? Can you bring me to church on Sunday?" Right. And then eventually I had a 12-step mentor, and I had some life mentors. And so I just want to say, I truly believe that having mentors in our life is one of the most important things that we could do on this journey, y'all. I would definitely tell you that I would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for mentors in my life, if it wasn't for that man investing time with me to, show me about the Bible and join me on this spiritual walk, someone to walk me through the 12 steps, and just some men to do life with me, man, and just to walk alongside me. Running things by people when our brains are foggy in that beginning stage is so important, man. So I can't tell you enough. Just please get some mentors in your life. And if you don't have any, pray for some. God put some people in my path, some people I can reach out to, I can connect with, because all of us we need mentors. So I want to share this part of it. I think this is important. So even after all that, I just told you, right? Part of the whole doctor shopping gig was I had real injuries. I have MRI to prove it. I have herniated disc, bulging disc, pinched nerve, curved spine, all that stuff. And so about 5 months into what I just told you, my neck went out. Things would go out at random, and I'm telling you, like, it hurt so bad, like I couldn't move my neck a quarter inch in any direction, and I was in like agonizing paralytic pain. Bonnie was a friend of mine at that time. My wife, she said to go to the hospital. My sponsor said to go to the hospital. I went to the hospital. I made the choice to not say that I was an addict when I walked in there. I knew exactly what they were going to do, right? When I walked in, they hit me with the Dilaudid shot, and I felt it. It hit my stomach, right? But I was just in that moment, like I was just happy for some type of relief because I was dying for like 2 days, and in my mind I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make it through the night. I'm just gonna eat it, and I'm just gonna move forward from here because I don't want to go back to that. And man, I'm trying to tell you, like the next day, it was back on, son. It was back on, and I was like drinking tall boys in the morning and opiates in the afternoon and smoking hard at night like that. And so this is a question you can ask to 20 different people in recovery. You get 20 different answers. I'm just sharing with you my story, right? And so for me, I'm so glad that that happened to me at 5 months in instead of 5, 6 years in, because it taught me I don't care if I got 8 broken bones and a team of doctors in Manatee County says I need this. I don't want nothing to do with opiates. I don't want any pain meds. I cannot take anything. So some people say you can take them as prescribed. I don't know what take them as prescribed means. It's not in my vocabulary. And so for me, man, I just say, like, I can't have nothing to do with that. So unfortunately, if I have a surgery or an injury, I'm just gonna have to eat it. It is what it is. Take some Advil and just keep it moving. And so again, I'm happy that I learned that, early on and not, later on in my recovery. So from there, it was real short. It was hard to come back. I had to put my pride down again for all those guys that see me get, 120 white chips, and I had to come back and get another one, man, and start over again. But I did it. I had people in my life to encourage me. Don't let this take you out. Just come back from this. And that was on the last use was 11/25/2013, and this is what you see today as a result. I was working at a place in early sobriety. I want to share just a couple stories. Working at a place in early sobriety, and it was a place where like everybody was getting high except me. So to say it was a challenge was an understatement, especially coming off what I just told you. Coming off what I just told you about. And so man, I just remember there were multiple times where I was so close to giving in and using again, man. And I'm a shark just like you. I can just look around the room and be like, yep, he's the one they're getting it all from. I'm going to go to him. I'm going to ask for it, right? We can read the room. We know what people are doing. And so, man, I just remember a few times at that job, like so close to going back out and just having no choice but to go in the bathroom and lock the door and to beg God, like crying in the mirror, begging God, please take this thought for a drink and drug out of my head, God, because I know what's going to happen if I stick a needle in my arm again. And man, I'm trying to tell you, those moments are when I first experienced the true power of God. Those moments, like that's what it took for me. I pray that you have the same experience because, I know for me it didn't happen because AA said to get a higher power or the pastor said we should pray to Jesus, whatever it was. Man, when I experienced something happen from those rock bottom desperation prayers and like something would come over me and I would feel okay and I wouldn't want to use and I knew I was getting like comforted somehow supernaturally. I'm like, whoa, this stuff is real. This stuff is real. So that's the time that I first experienced the true power of God. And I think that's a good place to add in, what do we do in those moments when we have a using thought? Because, for very few of us, the urge was taken away. We never think about it again. That's awesome. People should be praising the Lord every single day if that's their experience. For most of us, it don't work that way. Right? And so I can't tell, do I still have a using thought on rare occasion? It does come, right? So what do we do in those moments if we get that urge, right? And so I just say, man, if 51% of you wants to be sober, more than 49% of you wants to use in that moment, will do something different, right? And so the first thing that I say is just begging God for help, man. That desperation prayer in that moment, going to God, asking him for help. Second thing I recommend is picking up the phone and letting someone know what you're thinking and what you're struggling with, right? And that's why I encourage you to have mentors in your life, people you already have a relationship with. So when you pick up that phone, it's not awkward. You've already been talking to them for a little bit. And I'm telling you, man, especially in the beginning, if I could pick up that phone and say, man, I'm just going through it right now. I'm about to go back out. I'm telling you, every single time at the end of that 10 or 15-minute conversation, I didn't want to use anymore, because they knew how I felt. They were able to talk me through that particular feeling. They were able to make some suggestions and offer some advice. And man, it's so helpful that we have people to reach out to, that we can call and we can let them know where we're at and what we're going through. And the third thing I encourage us to do in that moment, if we have a using thought, is think it through. Think it through. Because we always love to play that highlight reel of that one time when it was good. Right, like that one time that it was awesome. That's all we think about. Then we want it again. Now I learn, right? Oh yeah, that one time might be pretty good, except all the guilt and shame that's going to come directly after that. And now I'm going to have to hide it from everybody, including my wife and my kids and everybody that knows me. And then it's opened back up in my mind, and now it's all I'm going to be thinking about. Now I'm going to want more. Then I have to hide that, and then I'm going to be back and out. I'm going to lose everything that God just blessed me with. No one in the community is going to trust me. I lose my wife, my kids, all of you guys. I'm not going to stand up here and try to help people to be sober. And so when I say that, does it sound like a good idea to get high anymore? No. Right? But I got to think about all that. I've had to train my brain to think it all the way through, and now suddenly it does not sound like a good idea, right? I don't want to do that. And so those are three things, man, that I just recommend. Just, going to God, reaching out to people, and playing the tape all the way through to the end of that. From there, I'll try to share some where we're at today. As the years went on, man, I just always felt the need, just the want, the desire to help other people. And I would see people speaking at different places or helping people one-on-one, and I was like, man, that's me. I can do that. I know I can just be a help to someone that was once stuck in that same hell that I was stuck in. So it started as mentoring guys one-on-one, sponsoring people, obviously. And then it eventually led, I don't know, just God gave me this crazy idea for something called I'm Jesus. And we started doing it in my living room. Kind of started as a Bible study. And then, a pastor had seen it. He wanted to make an official ministry at his church, right? And so it just, we started officially and just started to grow, and just, a little bit on that. And all the times where I felt like I had accepted Christ, somewhere in the middle of all those relapses. Like I truly had believed, I thought, but then I just kept on going back out over and over again, and it would make me feel bad. Like, did I miss something, God? Did what I do not count? Like, how come I don't have this transformational experience? But people in my life to teach me, man, it's not about that one-time event is awesome, but then it's about that everyday relationship after that, right? And so, man, if I could just put one thing in people's minds is just, and that seeking out God every single day. It's so important. That one-on-one relationship of getting to know Him more on an intimate basis, just reading the Word, taking that time to pray every single day, having some mentors to give some spiritual enlightenment to us. It's like the same thing. We're not gonna. We start dating somebody and we barely talk to them, and we don't hang around them, we don't do anything with them. We're not going to get to know them that well, right? We got to spend some time with people to get to know them. And so that was just birth from just finding what I was looking for in drugs and alcohol my whole entire life. I found in my one-on-one relationship with God every single day. And so, man, if I could just, impart that on people, just taking that time to seek out God every single day is so important, guys. So I know, could go on for hours from this. From there, when you do the next right thing every single day, and Matthew 7:7 starts to open up and come true in your life, and you ask and you'll receive, seek and you will find, man, knock and the door will be open to you. God started opening all of these doors for me and my wife Bonnie at the proper time. And eventually we were able to get our own place together. Eventually, we were able to get each vehicle for each of us. Eventually, we were able to get our kids back in our life. Just so many times where I just know God gave me a vision for something. When the last place we were living in was low income housing, and we got our kids back. That's awesome. But people are jumping each other in the parking lot. I got to cover my daughter's face up because everyone's smoking blunts, right? Like I was like, man, my family deserves something better than this, man. Like I just always saw my family in a new construction home, and I'm telling you, I had people in my life that helped me and Bonnie build up our credit, that helped us get to a place in order to get a home for our family. It's little things like that. I'm not telling you to brag. I'm telling you, if we didn't have those people in our life to help us, we wouldn't have gotten that. Right? We would came in with a 400 credit score. We didn't know what budgets were or how to save or how to repair that type of stuff. And so, man, we want to pass that same information on to you guys. And we want to help you guys repair your credit and be able to set a budget goal, right? And eventually be able to get your own housing, your own vehicle, all that stuff, because that is all part of the process. And I promise it will come at the proper time. I guarantee you that. And so, man, it just God started to move. Just leading up to that point. Hand Up to Victory is our nonprofit organization that we have. I still saw that, even though I'm speaking at all these places and trying to help people to change, there's people coming out of jail say, hey man, I want to go to the meeting. That's awesome. But like, where do I go? I don't have any money. I don't have any family or no one to help me out. And at the time I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's even anything out there that will take you for free. Right. And so then that's when God put Hand Up to Victory on my heart. And this organization, man, we help people to get into sober living houses. We help people with material needs, full-time jobs, all that. And man, I've seen so many people that was just instrumental for in that moment. It was what they needed just to get that little push jump start. And now they've taken that opportunity and ran with it, and just seeing people's lives change and seeing like being able to pass that on to other people. And now they're mentoring other people and they're helping other people that God put in their path. Man, there's no better feeling than that. And so I just want to close with finding our purpose is a very important part of this process, man. So many times I just was trying to be sober. I seen everyone in the meeting just, oh, we got this many years. And I was like, what are they just hanging on for dear life every single day? I didn't understand it. Thought it was just about just hanging on and trying to make it through another 24 hours sober. And man, but when I had people in my life that helped me to know, like, this is about changing the old person. And also this is about having some purpose in life, like finding what we were put on this earth for. Finding what God created us for and operating in that every single day, man. There will be no greater joy you would ever experience than finding that. If some of you are already to tasting pieces of that, you're starting to see what God's purpose is for you. That's awesome. Maybe you're at the spot where, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, nothing's changing. I feel like I just wake up and go to work and that's it. Like, start asking God to reveal what his will is for you. God, what did you put me here for? What do you want me to do with my life, God? Please lead me and guide me every single day. I promise you, right? There will be some times where God, in his right timing, is going to start opening some doors, and he's going to reveal to you what your purpose is, right? So don't forget, God didn't say on day one sober, this is what your purpose is, Justin. Now, it was pieces of it. The first purpose was just show up to this job I gave you and show up on time and work hard every single day. Let's just start there, right? Show up to these meetings. Maybe you can minister or help some people at the meetings, right, at your job, right? That was the first part. But slowly but surely, man, God started revealing those other levels. And so I just encourage you, man, ask God what his will is for your life. Let us help walk alongside you as we take this journey together. Like, that's what this is all about, is a purpose-driven life, right? All of us finding what our purpose is and what we were created here for. So that's all the time we got for tonight. I love you guys, man. Anything I can do to help you, please let me know. The team's here to help you also. I'm going to close us out with a word of prayer. God, thank you so much for what you're doing in all of our lives, Lord. I pray that whatever piece of that story was needed to touch someone in someone's life, I pray that everybody got something out of that, God. Maybe it's just in that space where it seems like nothing's happening, God. I'm not seeing the purpose. I just like kind of existing. Lord, I pray that you just open up the floodgates of all of us, God, that you just reveal what your will is for each of us, God, what your purpose and plan is for us, that we just, you allow us to operate in that every single day, knowing that we're doing the next right thing, God. And I pray that you just continue to bless us and guide us on this journey and bring us closer to you. In Jesus' name, amen. God has called us to something higher. Freed us from the slavery of addiction. Blessed us in so many ways.
Like it talks about in the Bible, that unity that's going to bring people to Christ.
When you pray those prayers from a place of desperation, no matter what is going on in my life, God has this covered.